Hey guys, Lucas here again. This is going to be a video on mid mechanics tips, specifically with Pango, but also somewhat transferable to Void Spirit as well. I'm going to try to show you guys how I use Swashbuckle to secure range creep last hits, control the wave, and also how to try to make better trades in lane. So in this case, I have two replays where I'm fighting against a QOP, typically a very hard matchup for Pango, and, well, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Ultimately, the goal is to hit level 5 and then jungle your way to level 6. Generally most of the time, at which point the lane is kind of over. So here we go. Alright, so this clip is going to be from my stream last night where I was playing against a rank 270 QOP. Not as high rank as I would normally play against, but I still have some things I want to point out that I do in this lane that I think I try to do in every QOP matchup that I play. So as soon as I get to the lane, so this is like an even block. I would have liked if the block was maybe running into my tower or maybe here, but this is okay. So you'll see the first thing I do is I start right-clicking the creeps as much as possible. I want this lane to push in, and I don't want him to get a massive creep advantage on top of me. You'll see just there, I clicked on the enemy hero, pull the creeps back onto... So I aggro the creeps onto my hero, and then pull them back onto my range creep. Now here, he's taking damage from 3 creeps at once, so you'll see I haven't even auto-attacked QOP once, but he's taking a lot of damage here. I'm going to continue to last hit creeps, because I want the lane to push in my favor. You see how, since I've already killed that creep, he's got 4 creeps, or I have 4 creeps on my lane, and he only has 3. So I want to keep auto-attacking these creeps. And now, here's something you'll notice. So this range creep is low, it's getting a low health. So what is the QOP's goal, right? His goal is to last hit the creep. And my goal is to make sure I deny as much as possible. So we'll see the next thing that I do is, I know he wants this deny. So what do? I abuse creep aggro, I pull aggro off of the melee creep, and look, his positioning is here, because he really wants this range creep, but I'm just not going to give it to him. If he walks up to my hill and he wants to right-click me back, he's going to aggro all of my creeps onto his hero. It's impossible for him to get this CS if he walks up on my hill like this. And if he's further back, it's just going to be harder. So that's just one trick where I abuse creep aggro. We'll see here later on in the lane. I'm just going to push it as much as possible. It does end up pushing in. Again, going to abuse creep aggro, get it onto my range creep. If he decides to do the same thing, I do have my Swashbuckle to get the last hits as well. If he does pull the melee creeps back onto his range creep, trying to get the deny, it won't work. So we'll see again. He does go for this last hit. I do kind of just play it safe because I have a salve, but you can see this lane is going in my favor. In my opinion, it is at least. I've gotten like some denies off. I'm winning on CS. Again, I really like this build where I start with the branches, and I've already used a salve. So now the main goal of the lane is that I want to get this bottle timing before I run out of health, basically. So I want to abuse, well, it's not really abusing, but my goal is to get all these last hits, which I actually miss all of them. So this is on a red flag in this lane, because the goal here is to, like, you really, it's heavy timing based against QOP. You don't want to buy 2 salves in this lane. You want to buy 1 salve and then buy your bottle. If you can't do this in the lane, your lane's just going to go south, because you're going to end up continuously ferrying yourself salves, and everything's just gonna get rough. So I miss, honestly, this lane doesn't even go that good. He's salving up. I miss a lot of last hits here. I do get that one. But you can see I have 5 CS. It could be a lot better. This QOP's not doing that great. So you'll see here, he's doing a trick where he tries to aggro the creeps and not bring it into his tower. He wants to creep the creep wave here so that he can zone me off the wave while his entire wave dies. But I'm not going to let him do that, regardless of my health points. So here, because I missed so many creeps earlier in the lane, I'm not going to hit my bottle timing, which is very bad. And this is the one thing that you're worried about in this matchup. If this QOP can stand on this hill, and you can do nothing to influence the wave, your lane is in big trouble. So here, I kind of just do what I have to do. I try to push the wave in, or make him auto-attack me, so that I can influence the wave. Luckily, he does end up making a mistake here, where he stays in this lane too long, and I just get a kill on him, which was very bad on his part. Then the lane is just won. Alright, so in this game, I was playing against Snake King QOP. Again, he's not really known for being a mid player anymore, but he, nonetheless, in my opinion, still has a great mid. This lane is an interesting one. So this just kind of is an example of how blocking really well can massively impact the lane. So we'll see here that my block is insanely good. He misses his block completely, and this is what happens when the lane goes under tower. So I'm going to try my best to get all of these last hits. I'm also going to right-click on the enemy hero, pull the creeps back to try to influence the creeps in order to get the last hits. Here's one trick where you can, if a creep is very dangerous in terms of if it could get denied or not, you can right-click it once and then cast your Swashbuckle. That's generally a pretty good tip. And now I'm level 2, and he has this wave running into his tower. So one thing I should have done in this lane was probably, I've kind of been thinking about how you should probably just have a salve instead of go bottle rush. But in this lane, because of where the lane was and how it was under my tower, I was able to skip the salve in this situation. And we can see how the lane is pushed. I grab creep aggro onto my hero. He has to get these denies, and so he can't really bother with me over here. And he's trying to farm under tower. So one of the things is that when you push the creep wave into the enemy tower, they can't really right-click you as much. They have to oftentimes just right-click to deny, or right-click to set up for a last hit, or actually last hit the creeps. So you're kind of free to pull the creeps back a bit on your end, and get the last hits, or try to deny the creeps. So we'll see here I pull the creeps into my tower. I try to keep them here as long as possible, try to get the last hit. And this is just the lanes are constantly bouncing back and forth in between towers, which is very good for me. Because it's constantly just, I get help to kill the creep wave, which is very good. So we pull the creep wave back again. We're getting all these last hits. We have our bottle coming out to us. This is like an insanely good game for Pango. The creep waves are constantly hitting each other's towers. Like I talked about in the other game, he wants to keep the creep wave here so he can right-click me as much as possible. But when he does this, he's actually tanking a lot of creeps, and the lane is going to end up pushing in my favor. So I'm going to end up being able to salve up here. Hopefully I ferry myself a salve. I don't know when I do that, but I should eventually. So the creeps are just going to keep running into my tower, and it's going to be very favorable for me. So one thing QOPs don't do enough as well is they don't ferry themselves enough regen. So you can see here he's actually on 160 mana, and he has... Okay, so I just want to mention one more thing that was important about this trade. So if I don't make this trade, this lane is going to stay here for a very long time. We can see this QOP is a very smart player. He hasn't actually completed a Null Talisman yet, which just shows the amount of regen he's purchased, right? Like, if you continuously buy mangoes and salves in these kinds of lanes, you're putting a lot of pressure on the enemy hero. Like, if I'm always permanently Shadow Striked, I'm going to have a bad time in these lanes. And it's the same kind of concept with SF. Whereas if you're an SF and you're spamming raises with someone, you're basically controlling the lane, and you can be like, okay, well, yeah, the enemy player can just buy salves, but at the same time, if you're spending all your time salving up, you can't really get last hits. Like, a lot of your creeps are going to get denied, and the SF's going to get a level advantage, and it kind of just propels itself from there. So there are trades that you have to take in these kinds of lanes to save the lane from staying in this position as it is right now, where the lane is just right here. So if I don't make this trade, the lane will stay here. But by making this trade, you can see it goes kind of average for me. I wish I did have a salve. Again, I did miss a lot of CS coming up to this point in the lane. But you can see here that from making this trade with my hero, so I had a Fairy Fire this entire time as well, so I wasn't really at that risk of dying. But you can see here now, he's got 2 range creeps here. So if I was smart enough and I had bought the salve like I should have just gave up on the bottle. Honestly, after missing like 7 creeps under tower, I should have gave up on the bottle. I should have bought a salve and then gotten bottle next. But like, if I would have actually ferried myself a salve, this lane could have gone kind of a lot better. As we see, the lane is going to push into my tower. I could have just backed up, salved up, and then walked back in. I did see it opening here though on the Queen of Pain hero though to kill him, so it kind of just changed the lane. As like no mana for anything else, and he's also pretty low on health. So after I combo his hero here, like he kind of just has to run away, which is something important, is knowing when to go on the enemy. If I don't go on him there, so I'm kind of sitting here waiting for regen, right? Like, if I walk up here and try to pull the creeps, I'm going to get daggered, right? So I have to make it worth my time. So I walk up. Instead of pulling the creeps back, I actually just go on him. I do the Q through trick to deal the extra proc. And I keep going on his hero to try to pressure him off the wave. I do have my salve. Again, he kind of messed up this lane in my opinion by not getting his salve timing very, very good. But this does go really well for me. So now the lane is here. He still needs to salve up, so I abuse the fact he's salving. And I walk up and I pull the wave back. Well, okay, I thought I pulled the wave back, but both are fine. Get these last hits on the creep. And then this is where the lane is kind of bad. So you can see the creep wave is here. This is the dangerous spot that you never want the creep wave. He does go on me, and I have no choice but to go on him as well. I don't know, he doesn't think he can kill me because I have a Fairy Fire. Maybe he thinks I could have all-ined him here. I do get a port to help fill my bottle, but this lane is going very well in my book. He doesn't actually have that much health. The fact I got the bottle refill helps a lot. And now the lane is pushing in. So we go on some enemy hero here. I'm not getting crushed in this lane is the main point that I want to show you guys here. You do see he has a DD now, and this is where I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to kind of jungle if you have a DD and but if you're not pushing the wave in, then I mean, if you're gonna push the wave in, then I have to go. I can just sit on your tower, but the fact that he's doing what he's doing means that I can not have to jungle. So we'll see here he walks over to the bounty rune, and I can push the mid wave out and get my almost level 6. I can actually steal the enemy bounty rune, which is really good. And now things are going really well. So your goal is to play for level 5. If you can hit level 5 in this lane, you're doing really well. You don't want to get daggered when you're level 5. That's the goal. You can look at the wave and be like, is it worth it if I swashbuckle or walk in range of a dagger? And if the answer is no, then just don't go to the wave. When you hit level 6, the lane is very much laneable. We do see here he doesn't like the fact that he knows I'm going to go run to the jungle. So he does pressure me. I don't know. It feels kind of a bit crazy. We're both chilling level 5. And this lane just goes in my favor. I do end up hitting level 5. I did kind of get help from my support, so I can't take full credit for how the lane went this way. Not saying you always should get help or ask for help when you're against a QOP, but it doesn't really... It isn't that bad of a thing to ask for, I suppose, sometimes. So I'm still trying to get my level 6. It's kind of very normal for the QOP to hit 6 before you, especially because you do have to jungle at 5. Generally, unless the wave is super pushing your tower and like it's worth it to get daggered or something like that, then it's fine. But there's also a lot of bottle refilling in this high MMR game, which is very unlike the pubs that you guys are probably in. But anyways, I try to go for this kill, does end up working out, and this is pretty much the end of the laning phase. If he ever comes back to lane, I can Q the entire wave, and if I have roll up, I am able to escape if he daggers me and tries to all in me. Otherwise, this is pretty much the end of the lane. Your goal in the QOP lane is to play for 6, and this kind of went well for me. So I would consider this a 1 lane, regardless of the net worth, which I'm sure doesn't favor me. It does by a little bit because of that kill that just happened, but earlier, like he has a small enough lead that, I mean, it's not that big of a lead because I did get some saving from my mid lane in terms of not needing to bottle up, but I also have this kill from earlier that helps a lot. We see here if I go back, like we're not doing that well in this lane, but it was kind of a lane that went back and forth in terms of the creeps like bouncing back and back. So it was very advantageous for me, and it's not something you would normally see in a lane. Anyways, so one last thing I want to mention is that this lane is extremely volatile no matter what way you look at it. There are many small things that you have to do perfectly, and if you don't, it can ruin your lane. This QOP can just hit level 6 faster than you. He can control the map way better than you, and he can just ruin your game. So just know that this matchup it's not pango favored even at the highest level. It just takes a lot of skill to be able to outmaneuver the enemy, and ultimately that's the great thing about Dota, is that you can have a certain amount of skill most of the time, and you can somehow get ahead or find a way to get ahead in a lot of situations where you wouldn't normally be able to get ahead. And I think that's really cool. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any advice for what I should make a video on in the future, or any questions about this one, make sure you leave a comment down below. And thanks for watching.